myself. We'll start right now. My name is Robert Trimbath. I'm CTO for AIO Integrations based out of Houston. I have 34 years experience in my field. I've done work for Dell on 2 continents, Baylor College of Medicine. I've got everything from data center experience to lab stack programming. And I've been working specifically in servicing small businesses and managing small business networks. And I mean small business, I mean 150 employees or less for the past 20 plus years, 6 years focusing on cybersecurity. I currently sit on 6 board of directors, and I serve as acting CTO for 5 companies as of last month. Took on another company. So that's kind of my qualifications, where I come from. I am also an ambassador for Alignable for North Houston. I'm one of 2 ambassadors. We have about 2,500 members in our group, and I run this group for the technology group, the AIO cybersecurity group, and it's mainly about educating people on cybersecurity, cybersecurity awareness, technology, how to use technology in your business, and getting some general advice on your business, how to use technology in your business. So we welcome any kind of questions after we kind of go through our main topic, and are happy to answer anything you want to ask. So today's topic is going to be, what are you supposed to be getting from your, what do you feel, what your IT guy should be doing for you? Okay. It's very different than it was 10 years ago. Like everything else, it evolves. Everything changes with the current landscape, the threats that are going on in our business. 25 years ago, we were billing blocks of hours at a time. We didn't do anything called managed services. We could build for our time. We would sell larger clients blocks at a time until they were used, and then sell another block at a time. And that's how business was done in our market for years and years and years. Managed services made a big shift. It made it to where the accountability is on us to make a profit. In other words, we have to do a good job, because now we're charging you kind of a fixed price to do a certain set of things, like manage your PCs, provide some security to them, provide support, help desk support. And so it's kind of on us on how profitable we are. If we do a good job at our business, then we make money. And if we price it appropriately, we make money. If we don't, we don't. And we will not survive as a company. I've survived in this marketplace 34 years because I have learned and adapted and kind of come up with the market. And I've got clients that have been with me for more than 20 years. Our CEO, our president CEO, was my client for 15 years prior to becoming our president. So when he heard we were doing this company, he jumped on board and said, I want to be a part of it. And I don't think there's a bigger compliment than to have, a customer want to be involved in your business. So I take it as a very big compliment that he wanted to do that. I want to go forward here and talk now about what's expected of us. So our landscape has changed a lot. Now there's a lot on us, and there's also a lot of responsibility on us that didn't used to be here. Basically, what will happen is we are responsible for our clients' networks. And basically what's starting to happen because of cybersecurity incidents, providers are getting sued. People like us, they're coming back to us if we don't do our job well, and you get hacked. They're coming back and finding the IT companies responsible because we're being hired to provide those, to manage those networks and to be accountable. And so it is now falling in our laps to do that. So I want you guys to realize that as an IT company, your expectation of us should be this. One, you should expect us to manage your network, to manage everything within your network. Our scope should be to make sure your computers are up to date, to have a process to manage that, to be accountable, to back up what's important and critical to your company. And I'm not just talking about a local backup, okay? Anybody who's using local backups as a backup method is about 20, I'm going to say probably about 10 years behind in thinking. We don't do that anymore for a lot of reasons. One is if it's permanently attached to the machine, like through a USB or hard connected to a machine, hackers can infiltrate it and kill it, which is about 65% of what happens to cyber incidents is they get in and contaminate or delete the backups. So that's why these clients are getting caught with their pants down, is because they are using antiquated backup systems. Backup systems should be cloud-based. They should not be local. They should use persistent storage. Persistent storage is a term in our industry that means that the storage, or immutable is another term. It cannot be deleted by the hackers. It cannot be touched by the hackers because it is not permanently attached to the system. A true backup attaches to the system, makes a snapshot of that system, and then saves it somewhere else where it can't be touched. The purpose of that backup is to serve as a safe place that is secure from other eyes and other means, be it a local threat, a cyber threat, or whatever. Nobody should have access to that but the IT people, and they should have the ability to restore that. And even on the IT level side, there should be people, a certain access, like multiple levels of access. It should only be allowed to delete and modify those things to senior managers and administrators. Shouldn't be left to normal level 1 techs handling desktop support and things like that. And that's because it's their data, it's their livelihood. So the other thing you should be expecting from your IT guy is for him to look at how you connect to do your work. Almost every business now it has to be online to conduct business. So what it comes down to is they should be looking and saying, hey, I know about connections as an IT provider. I know what this client should have based on the kind of work they're doing, how many phones they should have, how fast should their internet connection be. And it should be our job to go in there and look and say, okay, let's look at what they're getting, what they're paying for, because most people are only buying, most of these small business owners like yourselves are only buying what people are selling you. They don't have access to the wholesale channel. They don't have access to a variety of retail channel, and they only know what the salesman presenting them. And half the time, it's not what they need; it's what they're selling. So having an IT guy or having your IT guy look at your situation, what you're paying for your internet and your phones, looking to see if that's in line with what the market is doing and it's not overpriced. I'm going to give you a good example. I came into one of my clients I got hired into because I managed some other businesses for him. He brought me into one of his other businesses and basically found out he was overpaying for internet by nearly 10 times. He was paying AT&T for a 10 meg connection because nobody evaluated their contract. Nobody looked at it. Nobody looked at competitors. It just worked. And so they assumed that it was good. They were paying $1,200 a month for a 10 meg connection. When we shopped the fiber in that area, we found gigabit fiber from 5 providers for $180 a month. And that was available to him for nearly 2 years. So for 2 years, whoever was managing that prior to us threw away $1,000 a month for that client. That's $24,000 that client could have saved in a 2-year period had he known. That, to me, that falls squarely on the IT guy. That's like knowing, as a common person, expecting to know what your mechanic knows about your motor. You can't. It's impossible. So what it comes down to is you should be expecting these things from your IT people. They should be looking at how you connect, what you're paying for it, make sure it's in line with what the market is, and helping you get established with good, reliable internet service. And if your business is dependent on the internet, then you should be having a redundant connection, something that may not be as pricey, but as a backup to that. For instance, I have fiber as our main connection to the office, but as a secondary connection, I use Xfinity, which is a coax, and it's much slower. It's like a 200/20 instead of a gigabit fiber, but it's imperative for me to be online because I'm in this business. So if my main connection goes down, I have a second connection from a completely different provider that can be up and replace it. So I'm not offline. So I can still work, because every hour I can't work is money that I lose or I can't generate revenue from a client for. And with most businesses, it is imperative. Give you a good idea for a dentist. Most dentists now, or dentist offices, are using cloud-based services to manage their clients. A lot of them are. And if their internet goes down and they can't process claims, if they can't work in that system to process, for their patients, they're losing in the ballpark around $3,000 to $5,000 a chair per day. That's just one small dental practice. That goes the same for automotive and just about anything else that's out there. If you depend on the internet to connect to your services, to run your business, and to connect to your clients, then you can't afford to be down, and you need to be looking at your connectivity, having business class connectivity, and having a backup to it in case that happens. And there's all sorts of cheap backups. I've got clients that are using T-Mobile $50 a month backup to their main backup. So if they give you a router, if it goes down, they can still get online and still work. It's not as fast, but it works, and it gives them connectivity when their primary goes down. So there's all sorts of alternatives you can get creative with. We also have, Elon Musk's internet solution through the satellites now, which is more widespread than it used to be, and it's actually really good. So if you're in a rural area, doesn't have real good internet connection, doesn't have fiber, there are alternatives. I think it's I'm trying to think of what it's something like Starlink, I think it is. And it's available to a lot of places, especially if you are mobile. It's a really great service. Where 5G or things like that aren't really available to you, great alternative. So getting back to it, we talked about backup, we talked about what they should be managing. They should also be talking to you about cybersecurity and compliance. Now, compliance has a lot to do with what kind of information you're dealing with in your office. If you are a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, you do financial, you're a realtor, you deal with people's personal information, then laws applying to PPI and HIPAA for some people apply to you. That means that if you're not properly handling information and you were to get broken into and that information stolen, you can become financially liable on both to regulatory fees as well as third-party liability to the people whose information that got stolen, and that's very real. All right. So you need to be aware of what you have and what compliance laws govern you, and your IT people should be able to tell you this. And if they can't, then you're dealing with the wrong IT people. Okay, this is something that you need to have. And if you are an IT professional listening to this, I hope you take what I'm telling you seriously, because it'll come back and bite you in the butt later, and it'll be a lawsuit. You've got to be thinking about risk, compliance, and you also got to be talking about cybersecurity and awareness training with these people. You need a proper cybersecurity solution. If you are using antivirus products like Bitdefender, Webroot, they're inadequate. 94% of hackers get right by these things, these tools, and they're absolutely inadequate. And it's proven over and over again. One of the first best defenses is your IT provider should be getting you enrolled in some kind of cyber awareness program, and they're out there. I pay for one for my clients. I pay for one that provides IT training to every client I have. It provides cyber awareness training, phishing awareness training. They have to pass a test afterwards. It helps evaluate the risk score. You should also be possibly looking at you should be getting possibly dark web monitoring for your company and your primary email addresses to find out where your information is compromised within the dark web, and being aware of at least what's out there and what information has been compromised. For instance, our service we can tell exactly what information in what breach and what information in that breach was compromised. And we even get a sample of what data was exposed back. So we found out for one client where a social security number of a husband who had passed away was exposed in the AT&T breach. So, and that's information hackers will use for false identities to exploit. There's lots of ways to exploit and sell that data. So anyway, those are the things you should be expecting from your IT company. Your IT company should not just be, wow, we're managing your updates and we're here to help you when you need help. If they're proactively doing their job, and what we do with our clients is I'm touching base with them every couple of weeks just to say, hi, how are you doing? Is everything working okay? Are you having any problems? Those kind of relationships, having that kind of relationship with your IT person is something they should be proactively doing for you. You shouldn't have to chase them down. If you're having to call them to get problems resolved, you're not getting response, get a different company. There are people out there that are very good at what they do and pride themselves on a good job. And if you aren't getting that kind of service, find someone that is. Our average response time in our company is 10 to 15 minutes on an issue, on any issue coming in. We are making contact with our client within 10 to 15 minutes of a notice and working on it. That is what should be expected. If you're having to chase people down for hours and days, get another company. So I'm going to leave it at that. That's what you should be expecting. That's what you should get. Anybody have any experiences, anything they want to share with the group, and any questions for me?
What's your thoughts on pen testing? Because we work with a lot of folks that do pen testing. Do you guys have an in-house pen test?
We have a solution that does it. We have a company that specializes in that, a part of our cybersecurity company. We contract with it. They provide services directly to us as an MSP, not direct to the client. So they resell to us. And if you're in the business, you know what I'm talking about. There's some people that sell directly to MSPs and don't market direct. But yeah, they do penetration testing, risk assessment, things like that, and they're in compliance testing as well. For instance, internally, we're one of the few companies that actually uses a SIEM. We use Wazaa. If you know what a SIEM is a product that it's a security event and integrity monitoring, and it basically is meant to monitor file integrity, changes within the system, basically forensic information. And one of the big things the reason why I like Wazaa is because it also has built-in PCI and HIPAA compliance measurements in it. So I can hit it against any machine just very easily, and it will tell us what it's missing, where it's not compliant, vulnerabilities, all that kind of stuff. And for a lot of these small guys, I don't know how big your company is, but SIEMs are something that's kind of scary. You got to know people. Hey, you got to have people that know what you're doing with those or know how to use them. But there's a lot of documentation out there on Wazaa, how to set it up and use it. It's free. It's open source, so you don't have to pay for it. And you can roll it out within your environment as an MSP, and it will give you some valuable insight. It'll spot vulnerabilities in software like Mozilla, Chrome, the operating systems, tell you what hot fixes will fix it. And it will do, it's miraculous for that kind of thing. So, and it's a quick rollout through PowerShell. So you can roll this out through your RMM. Very, very powerful. We combine that with it. We're one of the few that I know of that focus in like the small micro business market that actually use that at that level. Most companies are using, and I hate to say this because and I hope nobody if there's other professionals here don't take it sorely. There's a lot of tools out there like Ninja and Atera and things that come out there, and a lot of level ones get out there who have just done some desktop support. Think I'm going to start an MSP, and and I know you're shaking your head because I run across these all the time. They've got no business being in the business. They really don't know what they're doing. They just they've got a good track record with help desk support, but they don't know what they're doing with servers. They don't know what they're doing with cybersecurity, and they get out there and they sell stuff real cheap, and they really make our life a nightmare for the legitimate people who are really actually doing all those things. And we've got them popping up like oysters and and sea. They're just everywhere. In Houston, where we've got a market of nearly 7 million people, they're everywhere, and we find new ones every month. There's new ones cropping up. I want to take a second to say beware, qualify. Don't just go by what people can buy Google reviews. Okay, talk to customers, ask for a reference, ask for a couple. I mean, I've got video references on our site. We actually send a guy out. He's on the thing today. His name is Corey. We've actually sent him out to sites to go make videos with our clients so that way they don't have to go ask. They can just go look and hear for themselves directly from our client's mouth. But talk to clients and find out, what they really think. What I find out is a lot of times is even some of my good clients will have something that maybe I didn't do quite right. And if anything, it's, that feedback gets back to me and I learn something from it. But I think it's, if you're doing your best with your clients and you're out there doing your work every day, your clients generally have a lot of praise for you. And I will say this, happy clients mean your bills get paid. You have very little carryover from month to month. And most clients are happy to pay your bill when you do a good job, because they like what you're doing for them. So as a professional, we have very, very little carryover from month to month as a business. And if you're doing a good job in your practice, then you should. But if you're having trouble collecting bills, start looking inside at your own service and say, well, why is that? Is there a service issue? Is there something they're unhappy with? The first thing I do is look and find out if somebody's not paying their bill. Sometimes it's a reason that I don't even know about. Maybe they got a problem with a tech, maybe something they get serviced right, and getting to the bottom of that fixes a problem. We can't be eyes everywhere in our businesses, but if we're aware and we're open-minded and we take responsibility for what happens in our organization, customers respect that. So,
can you spell the name of that company that you said was mentioned? Azar?
I'm sorry?
The company was mentioned for the seam, Azar?
Oh, Wazah, W-A-Z-A-H. And you can just look it up. It's I think it's just wazah.com. And they have a paid version that's hosted, but you can, if you have any experience with Linux, there's lots of guidebooks out there. You can set up, they can get you, there's lots of places to help you get set up with a seam in literally a couple hours. It's not hard. You just need some working knowledge of Linux to do it.
As far as the looking over what the customer's paying, I had an associate that had a client was paying for a T1 line for 7 years that had never been installed.
Oh yeah, that's happened too. I've run across AT&T that sold 2 circuits to somebody, never until installed the second for 12 years. They went back and sued them. It was actually an attorney firm. They went back and sued them, and they got $250,000 out of them. Yeah, that stuff happens all the time, where we find that people are paying for things they don't even have. As IT people, we should be expected. I say should be because a lot of people don't know what to expect. We should be expected to manage all facets of technology for our clients. If my client wants to grow and they're looking to add people, I would hope they would come to me and say, hey, I want to add some people next year. How much is it going to cost me to buy some addition? How much should I budget for these computers and these licenses and having backup? And how is that going to affect my bill? If I sit down with my clients proactively twice a year and ask them, so how's your business going? What's going on? Do you have any growth you're planning on next year or any expansion? Anything I need to be aware about so I can give you some budget numbers for it? Even if they don't, they like the fact that we came and proactively talked to them and asked them. Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't, but we should be. So those are.
How do you have the clients who you talk with them and you go with the goings or what they have coming up, and when it comes time for them to do something, they don't get back with you. They go and do something, purchase something, then they come and tell you they need you to set it up, and it's not what you told them to get.
Well, you have clients like that. I don't know what to tell you. What I find with my clients, I'm going to tell you something. We're not in the hardware business. We got out of the hardware business a long time ago. I don't sell hardware. Okay. And you want to know why? Because Amazon exists. And as long as Amazon is here and they're not going anywhere anytime soon, there's not much money I can make on hardware. Okay. So I would rather point them to a good purchase to make them feel like I'm not making a dime off their back off that. We are 100% service company. Us as a company, yeah, we're 100% service. So we guide the customer to the product and let them buy it. And 9 times out of 10, the client buys what I ask them to because I'm not selling it to them. I let them buy it on wherever they want to buy it from. But I make sure I give them the links to the things, give them a few choices, and they buy one of those things 9 times out of 10. And we make money off installing it, setting it up, and managing it. That's what our business is. I don't want to be in the hardware business anymore. There's not a margin in it. By the time I order it, by the time I get it in here, process it, do what I got to do, I've not made any money because I can't compete with Amazon or Best Buy or Walmart or any of those other people that they want to go compare prices with. So I don't do it.
I agree with that, but I give them a spec and show them what PC to buy or give them options, and then they go buy something totally different.
Well, then what you may want to look at is trying to provide an explanation as to why they need certain services. Like, for instance, most people don't understand that Windows needs pretty much a bare minimum. In fact, if in the next version of Windows, the base spec is going to be 16 gigs. It's not going to be 8. It's going to be 16. And it's because by the time you get a system loaded, just barely running, you're already using 3/4 of that RAM just to run Windows by itself without running a single thing. It's a monster. I run 32 gigs of RAM in my system, And I'm usually constantly, now Windows is designed to use more RAM if you have more, but I'm constantly using between 12 and 16 all the time. And I'm a heavy user. I use a lot of things, but a lot of people, I don't know about you and or a lot of you in here, but I got Outlook running, I got Word or some other Office things running. I've got a Zoom or a Teams going on. I got Slack going on. I got all these other things going on. And all that stuff takes up memory and takes up processor. So the average, cheap $500 machine from Walmart or Best Buy or wherever isn't going to cut it. You got to have a Core i5 or better. You got to have 16 gigs or better, and you need to be running SSDs, period. And no less than 512, because there's almost no cost difference between a 256 and a 512 gigabyte drive. Almost none. 1 terabyte drives are cost what 500 gig drives did a year ago. It's cheap. So, you have to communicate with your customers better if that's the case about why they need it, and help them understand that it's not about what you need today. It's about whether you want it to last beyond the next 6 months to a year. Carlos, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Would love to. I got your links there. I'll save this. And
Yep, I've got to jump into my next meeting. So
yeah, no, you go ahead. Thanks for joining us, and would definitely love to talk to you. I do a lot of stuff with other people and collaborate, and I was trying to see if Ernest jumped in, but Ernest is my partner in crime on this little thing, and he must be he's usually joins us from Puerto Rico. He's done work in cyber for the Big Five. He's worked for Disney, Microsoft, and he started becoming my co-host he's been to every one, but we made him an official co-host about two episodes ago. And he has also always got something great to contribute. So hopefully you guys will get to meet him next time. We do this every 2 weeks, so join us next time.
sounds like a plan. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Carlos. Anybody else have some questions? Feel free to chip in, raise a hand, and then chip in, just in case we have multiple people that come up. Bruce, Laura, Mary, anybody have any questions about what we talked about? We got a few people dropping off now, so I guess not.
I'll bring a question for some small businesses. As a small business, what do I need?
Okay, well, it depends. There would be a couple of things depending. One, I don't recommend any small business buy a server anymore. For a long time, the common practice was to go buy a server, buy some workstations, have an IT company put it in. I can't look a small business owner in the face and say buy a server. Our company has been operating for 20 years without a server. We are 100% cloud-based. Now, I say a server, we use cloud-based servers. So we use things like Teams. We use cloud-based SaaS services like QuickBooks Online. We use Zoho One is our CRM business automation system, and all these things talk to each other. We use Vonage for our phone systems, which is cloud-based phone. Zoom and Teams, cloud-based video. All these things are cloud-based. Office, Microsoft 365, same thing. We have not had a physical server in our building since 2004. So any business I'm going to say, unless under 25 employees, but unless you have a reason, like some kind of proprietary software that has to run, like some dentists, some doctors have things like CareStream or TDO for endo. There's a whole bunch of them. I'm just naming a few I know of off the top of my head, but there's a lot of specialized software out there that requires a on-prem server. But even those companies now are developing cloud versions of themselves because their competitors are already going cloud. They're going SaaS. SaaS stands for software as a service. So instead of buying someone's software and having to buy and manage servers, I recommend that any business look at doing verticals. Look for software as a service within your vertical. Don't invest in hardware. I am trying to get people out of the hardware business, period. It's expensive to buy and maintain your own hardware, but where IT is needed is in managing those devices. So my recommendation to small business is whatever business you're getting in, make sure that you are basing your technology on something that's proven and secure. and that whatever vertical it is, let's say you're an attorney, okay, a small attorney office, that it's going to comply with HIPAA and HIPAA compliance, which is what attorneys are bound by, and PPI. So the solution it's got to be meet those requirements. You have to make sure that whatever they're doing, whatever you set up for them, is set up in a way that you understand how their vertical applies to those laws. This is the part that most IT companies miss because they think it's just about computers. It's the management, security, and organization of information that's become key in our business that most people don't get. It isn't just about managing computers anymore or buying assets. Our job has really become about managing and securing information and making sure that that information meets risk and compliance guidelines, because that's what is getting businesses into trouble now. If you haven't experienced ransomware, then let everybody knows the common thing about ransomware, which is that they lock your data and you can't get into it. Right now, this is happening in the car dealership side. Sonic automotive dealerships, more than 15,000 dealers are locked out of their systems right now because of a cyber attack that happened last week. This is actively going on. All right. The other side of this that you don't hear about until later is the fact that they are stealing the information. So while they're in there, they're stealing the information or copying it. So not only are they disrupting you, but now they're taking the information that belongs to your clients and they're threatening to sell it. All right. Now, when that happens, that's not just bad for the people whose information has been compromised, but it opens your company up to third-party lawsuits. So that's one of the big things. It opens up your company to third-party lawsuits, and the IT company, as the person who's maintaining it, to a liability lawsuit. Big consequences there when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so our job has really changed over the last 5 years, especially. We're more about compliance, risk management, and security management of information and systems than managing it. In fact, Bruce, do you go to a lot of the things for like the junkets and things for MSPs? Have you been to a few? Baron, Bruce, any of you guys? Have you guys ever been to any of those things? If you haven't, 90% of what we talk about in these things for the last 3 years, we get in there and there's all these vendors trying to sell us stuff because, to resell people. And you know what 95% of it is? Cybersecurity, risk, and compliance. All of it. We don't even talk about backup and disaster recovery is a given anymore. That used to be the big thing. But that's just part of cybersecurity. Most people don't realize cybersecurity involves all those things. Awareness training is another thing. Awareness and phishing. When we go to these junkets and we're listening to FBI and Homeland and we're listening to all these cyber incidences and ways to prevent, do you know what our biggest problem is we're presented with? What everybody comes down to the big grand question is, how do we fix end users? How do we stop them from clicking on things they shouldn't? How do we stop them from hurting themselves? And training is the best way to do it. And I'll tell you something. Our company's been offering training to clients for, I'm going to say, close to 4 years now. And do you know what percentage of our client base actually does it? Take a guess. Anybody got an idea? They pay for it. It's included. They don't have to, it's already included, so they don't have to do anything but do it. But do you know how many people actually do it?
If you're over 6%, you're pretty
less than half. Less than half actually go in and do the training, even though it's there. And they don't realize that is the single most effective thing they can do, is to educate themselves on how to recognize threats in the first place. Instead, they send me an email saying, is this phishing? Is this a threat? Is this legitimate? When if they would have just taken the course, they would have known that for themselves and not had to send that. But it's easier to send me an email. And I'm not bothered by that. I'm glad they trust me with that and want to do that. But at the same time, when we have to start helping ourselves. And I do a great deal of, if you ever look at my bio on the website, I do a great deal of education for families, how parents can be better digital parents to their kids and their grandkids. I have 4 granddaughters with a 5th on the way. I've got 4 kids myself, and I've got, 2-year-olds with tablets, okay, watching TV and Android tablets. And, because the parents are, I get digital, my parents are, grew up in our age. And what I'm learning is that they haven't got a clue on how to protect themselves and their kids. So I spent a great deal of time doing education in charter schools, things like that, and trying to teach these people how to implement digital parenting tools to keep an eye on their kids. Right now, kids are under attack in some very serious ways most parents don't know about. We do offer free cyber awareness training for families. Anybody who wants it, it's completely free. So if you want a link to that, I'll send that up on the website later, and I'll post it up in the group as well. But my point to you is that as a what you should be expecting from your company, the theme of today is everything technology. They should be helping you in every facet of technology in your business. We have taken family law firms of 5 people who have come to us and said, man, I know we can do this better. We got a lot of duplication. We're growing. We're busy. And I can't handle it. I got to hire more people. Can you help me be more efficient? We went in and we've showed them a way to invest $20,000 in automation, but yet it saved them. It allows them to do 10 times as much business without having to hire a single new person. Great investment for their company. Now they're able to actually, not only are they able to scale and handle the growth because they talked to us and listened to what we had to say and allowed us to help them, but now they can actually step away and take vacations and know that their employees are following a process and doing things, and the business is going to be there when they get back. As a small business owner, one of the big things we do is live, breathe, dream, and even have nightmares about our businesses. I mean, it's embedded in us. It's what we do. But we also need breaks. We need to be able to walk away from it and have a weekend and have a week and take time with our family. That's why we have businesses. And so, your technology people should help you develop a way to know that your business is going to be there regardless of whether you are or not. And that's another reason having a good technology guy is important. The business shouldn't be 100% dependent on you. It is to a degree. Like me not being in my business would probably substantially hurt my business in the long run, but my customers would still get serviced. They would still get what they need because I'm not the only person in the company. I'm not the business. I'm a key driver in the business, but I am not the business. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to build if you want to build legacy into your business and something you can pass on to your kids or sell, whatever your plan is. Anyway, that's about it for today. Does anybody have any questions before we follow up? We're losing people, so I'm assuming that we got basically a lot of people watch the recording afterwards. We are recording this and we put them up. We literally have nearly 1,500 to 2,000 people watch the videos after. So if you got any questions you feel might be good or for somebody who might watch later, please ask.
Well, my actual question was for a person with a small business, as far as your cybersecurity stack, what would you consider them to be their main services that you offer that they need to have? Like firewall, antivirus, XDR, what do you say to your clients that they must have?
So antivirus, XDR, MDR, endpoint protection, antivirus is no. I would be looking for something that's a managed product, managed cybersecurity product. We sell one. That's what we have. We call it our cyber defense product. There's other, and we do sell to people like yourself. So if you want to do wholesale, we can remarket it to you. What's different about our product is we include $1 million financial protection program with our product. It's actually been reviewed by Cysurance, one of the largest insurers in the market, and they've actually looked at it and said we reduce risk so much, their risk of payout, that we've actually licensed the policy into the product at no additional cost. So if you want to know more about that, put your email address in the thing and I'll hit you up and we can set you up. But clients like SentinelOne, Huntress, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of different products out there, and I'm going to tell you something. The average MSP spends about $1.25 on cybersecurity. This is the truth. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's the truth. They license whatever comes with Kaseya, Atera, whatever it is they're using for their RMM and it's built in and licensed to it. That's what they use. Bitdefender. The cost is very low. Just a standard product. It does nothing to prevent hackers because hackers don't care about that. It's not how they get into your systems. So having something managed that has cybersecurity professionals on the other end monitoring the systems, that makes a difference. Okay. That's the kind of solution I would be looking for, is something that is a monitored solution. If you want, put your email in that. If you want, DM me or email, and I'll be glad to show you the difference between the two. I'm going to tell you, I'm a real stickler when it comes to antivirus products. Is antivirus products do nothing to prevent hackers. It's a myth. And we do a lot of stuff nationally to promote that message, and that message is that antivirus is a myth. If you really want protection, you've got to look at a different level, and it incorporates a whole slew of things. An entire solution incorporates XDR, which is extended detection and remediation. That's looking at network, disk traffic, computer use. It's using AI on the endpoint to determine how the end user uses the computer and what is considered normal use and what isn't on a per user basis. So if it knows a user is clocking into their computer by looking at its use and knowing this user usually gets on around 7 a.m. and off at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. every day, and that's normal use. He normally takes is absent from the computer from 12 to 1. It's looking at that. But if it starts seeing logins at 1 in the morning from places where it shouldn't, or attempted logins, it immediately gets flagged, blacklisted, and sent to us analysts to look at. That's real protection. Okay, this antivirus doesn't do that. Antivirus doesn't look at how a user uses a computer. It just goes off what it's known. It's trained off known information. It can't protect you from 0 days, and it can't protect 0-day exploits, and it can't protect you from what it doesn't know about. It's 20-year-old thinking. So that's why that is a lot bigger conversation.
Yeah. Did you incorporate Zero Trust?
I'm sorry?
Did you incorporate Zero Trust?
Yeah. Do I incorporate what now?
Zero Trust.
Zero Trust. I don't know who they are.
Oh, well, it's a term. Zero Trust is we lock down our networks that will not allow to install anything that's not pre-whitelisted. The clients cannot install anything. Nothing can install that's not already pre-listed. It's blocked.
You can't really, you can try and exercise that in the network. What you find, especially among small businesses and small business owners, that ain't going to fly. All you can do is you want to have good relationship with your client and have them make you aware of things you need. In other words, they want to do it, fine, let you roll it out. In other words, we'll take care of that for you. That way you can, as their IT person, you can investigate it. You can know whether it's legitimate or not. You can make sure it came from the right source. Being involved, it has a lot to, with your clients, has a lot to do with protecting them. Instead of trying to incite control over it to a degree, record it using a SIEM will give you the forensics about what's changing, and it hits against the Dimitri database. So you can know what is malicious and what isn't the moment it hits the system. It can alert you and say, yeah, it's, this isn't correct. This isn't good stuff. That way, if somebody embeds something in something legitimate, you're going to know about it. Those are the kind of things you use. Trusting, end users or trying to restrict them from putting things on their system is just going to piss them off, is what I found. You can educate them. You can tell them you're here to help them, be a tool to them. In other words, we'll do that for you. Yes, is it a little more time on your side? Yeah, but then you know what's being installed, you know when, how, why, and you know where it came from. And that's everything in our business right now, is knowing that information on a machine. All right, well, listen, thank you very much for joining us. Our next one is going to be on the size manner when it comes to hackers. Have a good day, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Hi, I'm Robert with AIO Integrations. We provide top-of-the-line cybersecurity solutions. Don't be fooled. There are numerous digital threats that can destroy your company's ability to do business. Hacks, ransomware, employee error, and nefarious actors can take your business down. For some reason, people have been sold the myth that antivirus protects them from hackers, nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that hackers don't hack networks in small business, they hack people. And then they infiltrate and do what they need to do after they have already gained access through people. But people are their first and most reliable way to get into your business. AIO CyberGuard not only protects your business by monitoring it 24/7 for threats and protecting your endpoints, but we train your employees on how to recognize those threats very easily, and we protect your business with a $1 million financial protection plan. You need to ensure that your business stays in business. We make sure that it does.